Hey everyone, this is Kai from WCC, and today we're going to net deck the way that other people do deck profiles, and that is put cards one at a time. And I'm only doing this because my tripod broke, so unlucky for me, I'll have to get a new one. But today we're going to look at what used to be the biggest joke in Standard, and that was Nova Grapplers. And why was Nova Grapplers such a joke? Because back then, when the game first got released, Nova Grapplers was the one and only Excel clan, and it lost to everything in the metagame because it was just not good enough. People were like, wow, Nova's doesn't get any advantage, it needs Counterblast to restand, and doesn't get any power. So if we just don't give it any Counterblast, it just runs out of steam, and we just slowly kill it off when it runs out of cards. So everyone looked at that, they laughed at Novas, and then they just didn't care about them for over a year now, probably, or half a year, depending on when or where you live. And then Nova's finally gotten some support, and they're actually pretty good now. People probably don't respect them as much as they should be because they still have that misconception that Nova's is a bad clan. But that's also because they can't read card text, because Nova's card text also has gotten pretty complicated, or more complicated than you would think for a standard deck. So people can't read that, and they naturally think it's terrible. But let's talk about the deck a bit, and we will then talk about how it's played and what's its place in the metagame. Now, first off, we have to run this starter. Unfortunately, it is Beast Deity, the White Tiger starter, because you run Beast Deity stuff. The second stuff that we should take note of is we are running 8 crits. 8 crits. Now, normally, no, bad. I'm a noob at this. Okay, yeah, 8 crits. All right. So normally, when you think of an Excel deck, they're running something like 6 crit, 6 straw, because they want the extra draws just for the more cards to pressure with. But now, because of Excel 2, you don't need those 2 draws anymore. And specifically with this deck, we want the extra crits to push the damage early, but also because we're going to play like G Great Nature when they first got released and pump a crit on one of our rear guards and just keep on restanding with that. So crits are good. We're not running fronts, unfortunately. Spoilers, because fronts don't accomplish our game plan at the moment. Go with the crits. Now the next card that we're running is 4 heal. 4 heal. Pretty standard, 4 heal. You have to run heals because they're pretty good. You don't want to not run heals. And then you're running 4 draw null. Very, very standard stuff. Moving on, let's talk about grade 1s. Running Claydol Mechanic, 4 Claydol Mechanic. Why are we running this over something like Transriser? I like it because you can push early with this deck, and then if you run out of hand early, you can get that extra draw, and that might determine if you have enough cards to push with the next turn or not. Otherwise, it has that pseudo countercharge effect. Transriser has the Soul Blast 2 countercharge, but we don't always have that soul, so having a Claydol Mechanic is fine. I honestly think you could probably pick one or the other. One thing you have to be careful of with Claydol Mechanic is that if you put it at the front row and you have a Kick Typhoon, you don't want to use its effect, or otherwise your Kick Typhoon is not going to work anymore. So be careful of that. Next up, we have Scarlet Bird. Scarlet Bird, pretty good. It restands your Brutal Jacks, restands the stuff that you attacked with Azure Dragon. Pretty straightforward. And then we've got Jet Riser. Now, Jet Riser is like one of those few cards that have lived since the first set because it's one of the best cards that came out from that set. It gets fat. That's pretty much it. It gets fat. It can get really fat. All right. So Jet Riser is still in. You don't really have that many other grade 1s that you would rather run that is as efficient as this card is to get fat. You play 2 cards, it hits 13k. That's the numbers you like. So Jet Riser stays. He's a good boy. All right. And then we've got the MVP of the deck, and the new card is Kick Typhoon. Now, this card is really good because it restands. Done. Enough said. But also, it has the other effect, which gives 5k to a unit, not just a rearguard, a unit when it rides on Vanguard or an additional rearguard circle. But the good thing is, if you have to ride this on your grade 2 turn, you give it 5k and it can hit force. No extra commitment required. If you even boost with it, it's hitting like over 21, 22. So very nice. Key card of the deck. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Next card we're running is Stylish Hustler. This card, we're running 4 of that as well. This card pretty much reads Get Fat as well. But it has this nice effect where if you play against Kagero and they retire your stuff. Well, actually, if you play against a lot of clans that retire now, Shadows, even Novas have retire, this card will save you. This card, Soul Blast 1, you can get the card back. They'll have to kill this off first. If you play 2 of them, you can just kind of Soul Blast 1 to get that one back. And yeah, it's pretty good. But most of all, it gets fat. It gets power for each card in your damage zone. So at some point, it gets 3k. At some point, when you have 5 damage, it's plus 15k. That's hitting 24. That is a number we like. A trigger doesn't save your opponent against the Hustler, all right? And then the other one, we got Brutal Jack. Gets fat as well. If you ride it on grade 2, it's really nice. Hits 19. And then the detriment is that it doesn't stand. You can play around that by just intercepting with it, or you just have a Scarlet Bird in hand and you can get the draw. So pretty good. One of your best targets to restand with for kick as well. And then you have this card, Boomerang Throw. This card is actually just anything you want it to be. I put a Boomerang Throw in case you need the extra soul or countercharge early game. But honestly, you can put any card. You can play a fat card, you can play an old card, anything you want. This is your flex slot, okay? So Boomerang Throw can be anything. And then moving on to the grade 3s, we've got our buddies Azure Dragon. We're running 4 Azure Dragons. And then this card, just forget about it. I used all my money to buy this madness. So yeah, 4 Azure Dragons. Pretty straightforward, honestly. There's not that many great grade 3s. And there's not that many slots in the deck. At least this card can draw your card and attack in the main phase. Sure, the attack in the main phase is a bit, it's like not great, but it helps you trigger your Scarlet Birds. At least it stands a card with its second effect, but your best grade 3 is Illumial Dragon. Now, this card is amazing, alright? Is anything on hit, it gets 15k, even if it's on Vanguard or Rearguard. And then, with the other effect, when your crit rearguard does not hit, if your rearguard does not hit your opponent, you can just stand it and give it another 10k. That's really good. That's exactly what you want to do with this deck. So let's talk about this deck in general. Is you got your Kick Typhoons, you got your Illumial Dragons as your Vanguard, and then let's say you've got like the Hustler. The Hustler, right? Now, with the Hustler, you put it on your Excel 2, it's, let's say you have 5 damage, because they've attacked you a lot, you're hitting 29. 1 Kick Typhoon restands that, your Illumial Dragon can restand that, that's 3 attacks, easy. But then if they're on 4, right, if your opponent's on 4, then your Illumial attacks, they kind of have to guard, because they don't want to just die to a random crit. Put your crit to your rear guard, and then you just keep on restanding the card, and that's GG. That's it. That's as brain dead as it gets. But sometimes you aren't that lucky. Sometimes you don't get crits. But luckily enough, you play all these cards that are beefy by themselves. Okay? So even if they get a trigger, your cards are big enough to just bash over that trigger. And that's all Excel needs to do. Especially with Excel 2, you're just getting enough cards. Even though the power decrease kind of doesn't matter for this deck. The card that you get from it is nice. And against everything in the metagame, as long as you go first, you'll probably win. Let's not talk about Bermuda, because Bermuda is just, if you talk about Bermuda, then everything loses to Bermuda. But against everything else, you have a pretty good matchup, especially if you go first. But say if you don't go first, at least against all the big protect decks, you'll likely beat them. And then the force decks, you do hit the numbers required to actually kill them. If you want to play a more brain dead version of the deck, you can just run more fronts instead of crits, and then you don't have to worry about triggering the crits. But otherwise, there's a few variations, changing the Transriser, the Boomerang Thrower. Yeah, it's up to you. Now, the other thing with this deck is that it's competing with Gold Paladins right now for the top Excel deck. This deck will restand one card more often. Gold Paladins right now, you can't really damage deny them because they can repeatedly ride XL2 and generate enough cards to just keep on bashing with. But they kind of focused more on doing a lot of small attacks, while this one, Nova's kind of more feature a big attacker restanding multiple times. So it really comes down to your play style. Personally, I think those two are pretty evenly matched. It just comes down to what you like. But Golds, when they go first, they have a huge advantage compared to Novas. But when they go second, it's not as stable as Novas. So hope you guys like Novas now. Hopefully, if you're a Nova fan, you're not treated as a joke. But also that people don't read your cards, so you can just get easy wins. They just don't know how to guard against your attack. So they all make, if you don't hit, you can restand, blah, blah, blah. So if that happens, all power to you. If you want some singles, go to wcctgt.com and check that out. And I hope to see you guys in the next video. Bye!